This video will focus on when to reference, particularly using the Oxford University Standard for Citation of Legal Authorities. It's really important that you reference whenever you are quoting directly from another source. Here we can see an example. There is a citation in text marked with a superscript number which matches the superscript number in the footnote area at the bottom of the document. Full information is provided for this source, including a page number to detail where this quote came from. You also need to cite whenever you are using well-known literature and theories in the field, using the same process. You also need to reference when you use the ideas of others or want to back up your own ideas. Again, with OSCOLA, we're using those superscript numbers to mark where the information is used, and then linking it to the footnote at the bottom with the same number with the full details of that source. You also need to cite any time you're using a landmark legal case or an Act of Parliament. It's also important to note that sometimes your quotes can be just single words or short phrases, again cited appropriately using the OSCOLA style. By now, this is demonstrating that you need to use a citation anytime you're using the idea of another, or a piece of information from another source. You also need to include citations when you're reflecting. Here's an example of a reflection from somebody who's worked in the Legal Advice Centre. They've still related this to the academic literature. If you're using a longer quote, that's 20 words or more, you should format this slightly different within text, using a block quote. Here you can see you move to single line spacing and indent to the left and right for the quote. This makes it super clear that this piece of text is from somebody else and has that same superscript number to mark where the original source is and the page number of the quote if appropriate. It's not just the words of others that we need to cite. It can also include data or diagrams from other sources, or figures and numbers. The examples on this slide show how you would cite for figures and for numbers, again using superscript numbers to indicate where the information came from, and then using a full footnote at the bottom of that document page to detail the source. There may be times when you want to reference something that has been quoted, reproduced, or cited in another source that you've read. This is called a secondary reference. Now, you should always try to find the original source if you can. You have no idea if the author of the source that you've read has edited or misrepresented the original source. If you do have to use a secondary reference, you should never pretend that you've read the original. And based on this, only include the book or article that you've actually read in your reference list or bibliography. To facilitate a secondary reference in OSCOLA, your footnote would look something like this. You'd first include the secondary reference, in this case Charlie and Bench Capon. You then include the phrase cited in, and then provide the full detail of the source in which you read this. This is really important because it shows that you've not read this original source and provides information for where you found out about it. This gives us the full context of this reference. It would only be Kevin D. Ashley's book that would include in the reference list at the bottom, as this is the source that you've read. This video has provided more information on when you need to cite, and with some examples of how to do this in OSCOLA. The next video in this series will go into this in more detail, looking at the mechanics of the referencing style in a little bit more detail.